Good morning. You are listening to the discussion from Dhamam TV. Time for thought for the day. Today we talked about very useful two aspects to enhance the ability to grow up inner quality in our daily life. It is difficult to live a good life and the benefits may not be apparent here and now. But if we believe what the Buddha has told us, then it is very well worth the efforts that it costs, even if it kills us. Not for the sake of life will a noble person break 5 precepts. The heartbreaking effects of bad karma done in the past may last for many lives, not just for one. But do not forget that good karma also has its effects a long time, sometimes for longer than bad karma. And this is important. If we do good karma now, we intended to be reborn in a position to go on doing good karma. For a man who is rich because of past good karma, he has the opportunity of doing more good karma now than a poor man who has not done good karma in his previous life. And frankly speaking, your past karma is not good enough to make you rich and successful now. It is nonetheless very good karma indeed, as you have fortunate being born a human being during the time of the Buddha's teaching exists. The next time you see a sick dog or a cow dying of thirst, think, I might have been born as that, and if I do wrong now, it is probable that I will be born as that. It is always better to bear up when misfortune attacks us, but there is nothing else we can do. We inherit our past deeds. The best possible way is to maintain neutral mind when you face up any life-threatening situation. For example, suppose there is someone you dislike in front of you, you don't allow to spring up anger even if you are already able to prevent anger from arising when you think of him in his absence. Unless you are reflected on positively, which means you need much practice, you will have no chance at all of getting rid of anger that arises when you actually meet him. Once anger takes possession of you, there is very little you can do except to stop it from finding expression in words or deeds. It is far too late to start practicing metta, loving kindness. But if you thoroughly practice metta before you meet such a person, then it is possible that anger will not arise when you do meet him. Having metta in your dealings with other people consists in having metta before you deal with them. That is in solitude. Once you start dealing with them, you will have little opportunity of attending to metta. Or if you do attend to metta, it will interfere in your dealings just as attending to your breathings takes your mind away from the matter in hand. You might, however, be thinking that whereas breathing concerns only myself, since it is a matter of watching my own breaths and not somebody else, metta on the other hand concerns other people, since it is a question of relationship with other people and of my attitude towards them. And you might think that it follows from this that the presence of other people is either an advantage or even absolutely necessary for the practice of metta. In a certain sense, this is true. You cannot practice metta towards other people unless there is in some way present. But the presence of other people does not imply that their bodies must be present. I do not mean that their spirit is present, while their body is absence, which is a mystical confusion of thought, but simply that other people is a fundamental structure of our consciousness constitutions. Let me give an illustration. It happens to all of us that upon some occasions, when we are doing something perhaps rather shameful, it might be simply when we are urinating or excreting, or it might be when we are peeping through a keyhole or something like that. And we believe we are alone and unobserved. We suddenly hear a slight sound behind us, and we immediately have unpleasant idea. I am being watched. We turn round and looked and find nobody there at all. It was our own guilty conscience. Now this is an indication that in order to have the relationship with other people, we do not need other people's bodies. We are conscious of other people, at least implicitly, all the time, and it is this consciousness that we have to attend to when we practice metta. When we practice metta, we are developing and gradually changing our attitudes towards other people. And we always have an attitude towards other people, whether their bodies are present or not. The only thing a living body does when we meet one is to be the occasion for the consciousness. This is another person, and if we have already been practicing metta and have acquired an unangry attitude towards other people, then when we actually meet another person, our attitude towards him will be correct right at the beginning and no anger will arise. It is only when we are already disposed to anger that we get angry when we meet someone. And if we are disposed to metta through long practice in solitudes on our consciousness of other people whose actually bodies are absent, we have metta in our dealings with them. It's time for end up. So we will meet you again in the next episode. Until then, have a very pleasant day.